Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this session that will outline how we in Wetaskiwin Regional Schools went about implementing the new curriculum. I'm Wanda Fontaine, Assistant Superintendent of Student Achievement, and I will be taking us through the nuts and bolts of this today. So thanks for joining us. So just a little bit of context, first of all. We're a rural school division serving 3,287 students. We have 17 schools, and two of those schools are Hutterite colony schools, and 951 of our students identify as Indigenous. And geographically, we're pretty far flung, with 7 schools in the county of Wetaskiwin, 2 colony schools, 1 school in the town of Millet, and the rest of our schools in the city of Wetaskiwin. So we have 232 teachers and 207 support staff supporting our students. Okay, so just before I kind of move into the details of our implementation plan, I just kind of wanted to note that much of my approach was shaped and influenced by this book, which I kind of love. Because it talks about, being focused on the right things, focusing direction, building collaborative cultures. But this is a term that has always stuck with me since first reading this book, the term simplexity. So taking a complex matter, identifying and breaking down the smallest number of key factors or domains or steps, and then simplify it. And from there, try and make it make sense to those who would be most impacted. And in this case, we would be talking about the implementation of new curriculum. And so that was sort of, in the top of my mind as I was contemplating and making our plan to go forward with this endeavor. So the challenge, was to start to prepare for that change that we knew was coming. We had awareness that there were new curriculums back in 2021, October, November. I'm not even exactly sure what month, but we knew they were coming, and we knew that we wouldn't be getting the drafts until late spring 22, and so we were kind of contemplating, how best to get started in this work, how to support our staff in this work, and what are our overarching goals as we begin this work, and what are the communication pathways that we want to adhere to. So we always, whenever something was coming out new, we always went first of all to our administrators, and then either had them disseminate information to the teachers or directly communicated with the teachers. So basically the overarching goal in building out the curriculum implementation plan was to ensure that whatever we did, the overarching goal was to help our staff end up feeling confident and competent to be able to implement those new curriculums. And I'm kind of a pragmatic person by nature, and so I really like this quote: organizing is what you do before you do something. So when you do it, it's not all mixed up. So, beginning with that end in mind, ensuring that all of the actions and strategies that we put into place, we stayed true to that goal of helping support teachers and administrators to be confident and competent in bringing forth these new curriculums. So from there, started to build out an organized, detailed, written out plan. So this has kind of been the roadmap. Right now it's about a 26-page document that kind of captured all of the objectives, the goals, the strategies, and I just kind of kept updating it and checking on it regularly to make sure that I was true to this plan. And when I had to report to the board or the superintendent, I was really able to produce something and say, here's what we did, here's when we did it, here's when we did it, who we did it with, all the grades. I kept track of all of the the sessions that we were booking, and I'm still using it today. So as began that journey of starting to implement the new curriculum, kind of had to take stock of where we were in real time. And where we were in real time was that we had just sort of come off of 2 years of COVID. And, you know, we knew that our staff had endured a lot personally and professionally. And then right on the heels of that, you know, here comes the new curriculum. So we wanted to acknowledge those realities, and in a way that provided comfort and empowered staff, that they had just endured a lot and they survived, and that they can handle challenging things. So we kind of built off of that, and, you know, just really acknowledged that is the strength of teachers. And I didn't want to miss an opportunity to kind of point that out to them. So I started all of my curriculum sessions with all of the different grades in elementary with this slide. If cauliflower can somehow become pizza, and you, my friend, can accomplish anything. And just kind of, you know, let people sort of go, you know, relax, and, you know, we really are capable of doing these things that are challenging. So at that point, what was next? So ready, aim, fire. So right out of the, you know, again, I mentioned we did not have the drafts yet, but we wanted to get started. We had a number of PLC days in the calendar for the second half of the year, January on. And so we decided the first steps we were going to do was to start with a real sound pedagogical piece. You know, the science of reading just happened to be, you know, able to contract with Michelle Bentz and Miriam Ramsey, who were doing a 6-part Layers of Reading series. And so we organized that for all of our K-6 teachers to participate in that on all of the remaining PLC days in advance of the new curriculum K3 coming out the fall, also benefiting the grade 4 to 6 teachers, just because for sure reading instruction is part of any curriculum that they're on, whatever version. So communicated this with all administrators on the 4th of January, had a virtual meeting with all teachers January 5th in K-6, and explained the why that we were going to embark on this journey, and as part of a get ready for the new curriculum strategy. Okay, so what came next? Well, after that, created that implementation plan and reviewed it with administrators. And when those drafts were finally released in April, had already scheduled curriculum support sessions for all K-6 teachers. K-3 teachers had 3 new curriculums, language arts or ELAL, math, and PEW. And grade 4, 5, and 6 had PEW. But it gave us an opportunity to bring them all in, 7 grades of them, introduce the new architecture, and start to build familiarity and comfort with it. Again, you know, on the heels of COVID, it wasn't maybe the most popular thing that was taking place in our province and in the media, that new curriculum was rolling in right after a global pandemic. So was aware of that, again, taking stock of the context, and really worked to introduce those new curriculums and depoliticize that, right? Basically saying, you know, we needed new curriculum, we needed renewal. It is what it is when we're here to make the best of it. Introduced, you know, an acronym that we wanted to kind of plant seeds on and grow, you know, CIA, Curriculum Instruction and Assessment, and have all conversations around curriculum include all of the, you know, those 3 different elements, you know, the Holy Trinity. So using that consistent language with all stakeholders, and giving lots of advance notice on the timelines for everyone to know what was going to be happening and when, and who would be participating. So again, another element of this plan was to ensure that we were building trust along the way, and alleviating concerns and any friction that might be coming up the flagpole. So administrators were worried about if they were going to have to lead this, put their mind at ease, we would do it from the division. Teachers were concerned about the timing and the kids having experienced learning loss, and tried to alleviate their concerns with the comprehensive support plan. Lots of questions about the new outcomes, how Power School would function. Brought in our ed tech teacher to review all of these things and take an opportunity to cover all the bases, and just kept trying to just reframe any and all challenges from a strengths-based lens, proceeding cautiously and listening to all concerns along the way. So, of course, like any school division, we were, trying to do a lot of things, and we tried to make the most of, in-house expertise that we had. I, at that point, was director of curriculum, K-6. That was my whole role, and so it was perfect timing to just be able to concentrate on this curriculum rollout and all the pieces that went with it. Melded that 3-year implementation of new curriculum into our 3-year ed plan, so our divisional documents were aligned, and just continued to bring regular updates to all system administrators about where we were, what we were doing next, what did we glean from what we had been doing, and just sort of keep them in step with the work. Also, provincial supports, the consortium and the multi-jurisdictional group that sort of took shape during those times were just absolutely, immeasurable in their support of this work, and just having others to talk to and glean great ideas from was just immeasurable. All right, so relationships, building the relationships with our teachers and giving them a safe space to come together and learn with their peers and be vulnerable. And I really tried to work on establishing positive relationships with all of our teachers, because I was able to bring them all in, all the teachers of all grades, K to 6, in same grade cohorts, and gave me an opportunity to really get to know them and them me if they didn't know me already, been around a while. And I could see that, teachers were starting to show more vulnerability. So in between the scheduled curriculum support sessions, we created some same grade teacher chats for them to sort of stay in touch with one another. And they were just, pinging things into those chats all the time. I was part of all of them. I could see, here's a great idea, here's a great resource. And so that was really nice to see that those across different school relationships were forming. And just kind of messaging consistently. Curriculum is a multi-year endeavor. Curriculum implementation is a multi-year endeavor, and no one's going to get it right the first time. Give yourself some grace, and just realize that we'll do our level best, and we'll get better each year that we implement this new curriculum and grow familiarity. So, seize the day. Took the new curriculum implementation as a great opportunity and platform to try and get a lot of other things aligned in our school system. Took a big comprehensive review of all of our literacy and numeracy resources in all of our school, lined them up alongside of the curricular outcomes so that teachers could see, we actually do have a lot of resources to teach phonological awareness already, or perhaps we don't, and help them to discern what resources they might need to be asking their principals to get for them to fill gaps. Reviewing the Power School setup, reviewing the importance of labeling your assignments and attaching to outcomes. And so, that was an opportunity to kind of strengthen the work that was being done. We revised our report card schedule to only 2 times a year, and that sort of alleviated people's angst about, trying to learn a new curriculum, teach a new curriculum, assess a new curriculum, and produce a report card in November. So we migrated those dates. And in our curriculum sessions, of course, tried to really punctuate the high yield strategies throughout the sessions. Using graphic organizers, using manipulatives, using read alouds to cover a host of curricular outcomes, and work smarter, not harder. Principals, how to help the principals. And so brought in a consortium consultant to an admin meeting and had someone else besides my voice review the structure of the new curriculum, and tried to get a base level of understanding about all those things. And then I took it from there, following up at all of our admin meetings, bringing forward new curriculum documents that we had created or curated from other sources, and reminded them of the support documents that were existing or being created so that they could support their teachers in this work, revising year plans, things such as that. And then, of course, you want to pay attention to whether we're making any difference, and balancing all of the different expectations and things. So again, I kind of go back to that, trying to paint a broad landscape for all levels of the system, our teachers, our administrators, and being really transparent about the funding streams and telling them what funding streams we were getting and funneling all that money right back to the schools. And just again taking an opportunity to emphasize teacher professional autonomy. Teachers' responsibility is to understand the curriculum, teach the curriculum as they see fit, and just supporting that shared responsibility across the system. And check-ins, was it working, right? So, some of the metrics or the measures that I was paying attention to was if I was sharing information and there were very few questions, I made the assumption, right, wrong, or otherwise, that there was some clarity and some understanding. Seeing teachers comfortable asking questions, sending me emails, speaking up in the room, asking for their direct feedback. In every curriculum session, I brought a notebook, and at the end of it, I'd say, okay, now just give me your feedback. How are you feeling about things? Are there any things that are going on in our system that you want to share with me that are bugging you or problematic, or, we can't solve problems if we're not made aware of them, and just created the time and space and hopefully the comfort level for teachers to bring forward a lot of things they were struggling with. And then I would take them back to senior admin after I got that, and we would change some things based on that feedback, which is my next slide. Took notes, summarized the notes. I'm communicating to the teachers updates from Alberta Ed, timelines. I'm communicating that with administrators. Conducted surveys with teachers. What do you need more of? What do you need less of? And basically I said, I can't presume to know what you need. You need to tell me, and I will adjust the plan accordingly. So I wanted to really show that we were paying attention and taking forward any and all concerns that they brought up. And we shifted a lot of other practices in the school division based on the feedback. Things such as shifting the report card time and the number of assignments that we might expect to see in a grade book. I hope and feel like that did build some trust with the teachers and central office by, showing up, paying attention, taking notes, and then coming back and reviewing the questions and problems of practice that were brought up, and told them solutions that we were thinking about and getting their feedback on them. So again, I think a lot of the things that went well, I would say, were based in having good, authentic relationships with teachers, learning alongside them, sitting in all the sessions, like 42 sessions, I think, the first couple of years, and then 22 sessions the following years. And so spending lots of time with our teachers in discussions and problem solving things together, and treating them a little bit, having a nice meal and snacks, and not a crazy intense day, but just honoring their work as professionals, and giving a chance to honor the complexity of their work. So I think that our teachers feel far more connected to one another now, having gone through all of that together. So basically, challenges. We had some, of course, like anybody would. But again, to address them, be honest, be open to what they're bringing up, listen, and just trying to, again, tell them they're not alone in this journey, they have other people to reach out to, and that they would have been and were supported all the way along. So we built year plans together. We built, the first couple units of work together and how a teacher might go about doing that work. So trying to take them from being overwhelmed to feeling confident and competent, which again was what we set out to endeavor to achieve at the beginning. We did have, challenges. Some were in our control, some were not. The timelines for the curriculum release from Alberta Ed sometimes made it difficult to plan, to have things in a timely manner. Lots of teachers needed a lot more help and direction with Power School. Something that, even though the curriculum is very clear, we worked very diligently to try and create rubrics and bring some clarity to the writing expectations. So we did a lot of work with teachers on that. We had math summatives that we had implemented for years that all needed to be revised to align with new curriculum. And, we saw a lot of angst with teachers about coming to the realization how much more content there was, how much perhaps more challenging the content was in specific grades when we started to look at the questions that we would put on our summatives to say that, these would be representative of end of year expectations, and that caused teachers a lot of angst. And again, the lack of resources available. So we had money, but there weren't a lot of things for teachers to purchase for implementing new curriculum. So we really tried to stress a lot of books and using read alouds in all subjects and using manipulatives in math and spending money on those things and not expecting a publisher to have something ready and perfectly aligned with these new curriculums. And again, teachers coming to this realization that they really needed to redo their year plans in a different way. And so we kind of struggled our way through all of that. Okay, I think I've covered most of these. We did do some extensive work in writing criteria and grading, and produced an exemplar bank to help teachers with that assessment practice, because people were asking a lot of questions and expressing vulnerability in that area. Teaching and assessing math and more complex outcomes, and really worked hard to curate those CPAR documents that the consortium was creating and housing them in a one-stop place for teachers to find easily and be able to use. So basically, just almost in closing here, to summarize, changing the culture of the school division with that curriculum, instruction, assessment, that CIA focus, really being cognizant that teachers really, really do need time to come together, review, discuss, and process new curriculum, the design, the content, the teaching of it, the assessing of it, understanding the success criteria that goes with each outcome. Again, just being open and available to them. So I hope that they always felt they had someone to reach out to, either another teacher that they'd come to know and feel comfortable with, or myself. So I think my guidance would be to always start with a solid and comprehensive plan and then follow it. Ask the people most affected, the stakeholders, the teachers, ask them along the way and adjust the plan accordingly. Listen to those voices. Finding support documents or creating them or doing a bulk of the work, because teachers are not looking for more work. So to ask them to start blank page on creating something, that's a lot of work, and they've already got a heavy workload. So they were appreciative of things that we could create and then put in front of them for their review and tweaking. And just, again, that sentiment that this is multi-year and we'll continue to support you, and we have continued to support all of our teachers in elementary with lots of support sessions, and we come together and we discuss, whatever we feel is most pertinent, whatever they tell us. That time is a valuable, valuable resource. And if you have to stand and defend the need for teachers being given the appropriate time, I think that's really important to champion that on their behalf. And that is the end of my presentation, and I hope that you have taken something away that you find helpful. Thanks so much for joining me.